Hi, YouTubers and Strive members. Welcome back. Today, I will be discussing how to avoid losing your earnest money deposit. We also call it EMD. This is very important because no one wants to lose their money, right? So please listen up. I will be providing 7 tips on how to avoid losing your earnest money deposit. Before I get started, please let me introduce myself for those that are new to our platform. My name is Detra Harris, and I am the Managing Director for Strive Wealth Builders. We are a business club for real estate investors. Please visit our website at strivewealthbuilders.com. We have lots of information there. Please enjoy. If you are not a member of Strive, please join us. There is no membership fee to join. Also, if you are not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please click now. We'd love to have you. So let's get started with this topic. What is earnest money deposit? So we also call it a good faith deposit, meaning that when you put in an offer for your property that you want to purchase, you're going to put down what we consider a deposit, which is going to be against your down payment for the property. So typically, the standard earnest money deposit is 1% of the purchase price. Now, I've seen earnest money deposits as high as 3%. I don't suggest putting that much earnest money deposit down. But, if you want that deal and you want to prove that you're really serious about it, a lot of time that's what is required. But the standard deposit is 1% earnest money deposit, and try to stay within that, even lower sometimes. Now, it will take me all day if I started getting into my experience with earnest money deposits. Now, one of the things that I want to share that in order for you to have your earnest money deposit returned to you, the seller and the buyer both must sign the cancellation agreement. Now, it can be held up, and you don't want it to be held up. And if there's a dispute, it could literally stay there for up to 2 years and have to go through the court system to be returned. And sometimes I've heard nightmares that some buyers have had to hire their attorneys in order to get their earnest money deposits back. So it's a big deal here, and no one wants to lose any money. So just be careful out there when you are when your offer is accepted, and usually you have about 3 days to turn over our earnest money deposit. So let's talk about the standard way. The most standard way that you can lose your earnest money deposit is by not meeting your contractual deadlines. That could be an inspection, that could be a loan contingency, or the close of escrow, and it could be other deadlines that may be in your contract. So I think that's the number one standard way that I've seen investors lose their earnest money deposit is not meeting deadlines. And I've had my share of coming really close to not my earnest money deposit being returned because we were close to not meeting our deadlines, or we did not get an extension on a contingency. So it's really important to make sure that you are very clear on those deadlines and meet those contractual obligations. Another way that I found that you can afford, that you can avoid losing your earnest money deposit would be bidding wars. There's a lot of bidding wars in this market right now because there's low inventory, and then you have competitors out there. Some of them are corporate America that is your competition, and they are coming in with at least $50,000 to $80,000 over the asking price. So sometimes we get a little excited and we really want this deal, and so we're offered a higher earnest money deposit that's at 3%, sometimes higher, and you can really, really jeopardize your earnest money deposit if the deal doesn't go through or something happens. You are faced with losing that money. So be careful of the bidding wars. The property is meant for you, you'll get it. That's my motto. Okay. One of the other ways that you can avoid losing your earnest money deposit is by not signing a non-refundable contract, which you'll hear a lot. It's called hard EMD, hard earnest money deposit, meaning that your deposit will not be refundable. So if you decide to back out of the contract for whatever reason, you will not get your earnest money deposit back. We don't want that to happen. So be careful of those non-refundable earnest money deposits. Another way that you can avoid losing your EMD is by waiving contingencies. Don't waive those contingencies. If you do, then you are faced with losing your earnest money deposit if for some reason down the line in your contract you discover a discrepancy, deferred maintenance, or some major problem with your contract or the property itself, or any other matter, and you've signed your contract to waive those contingencies, and you are faced with losing your money. We don't want that to happen. One of the other ways, and this is my favorite because due diligence, you can lose your earnest money deposit by not performing your due diligence. And I practice that a whole lot, and I talk about that a lot. It's really important to make sure that you perform due diligence on your property before you purchase the property and during your inspection period as well. Remember, I said meeting those deadlines. So make sure that you are performing your due diligence, because without due diligence, again, you may want to back out of the contract because you've discovered that there's a big roof leak, there was a fire, the foundation is unstable, you find mold, so many things can happen when you're purchasing property that you want to make sure you perform your due diligence, including looking at your leases and aging reports and P&Ls and all of these things. That's very important for you to do before you move forward with your contract and during your inspection period, and make sure you meet those deadlines so you're not faced with losing your earnest money deposit. Okay, let's move on to another one that I hear often is as is property. Now, I have definitely signed a contract under as is, but I've done my due diligence before I signed that contract. So again, when you sign a contract that's as is, that's exactly what it is. It's as is, meaning that it doesn't matter what you discover after you sign the contract and within the contractual agreement, is because you have signed a contract that says that you're going to take that property as is. So later on down the line, before you close, if you discover there is a major problem with the property and you want to back out of the contract, sorry, you're going to lose that money. You're going to lose that earnest money deposit. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, right? So be careful of all these things that I'm sharing with you today. And I've had my mistakes. And so now today I'm a lot more careful before I enter into a purchase agreement. I make sure all those boxes are checked. Lastly, another way that you can avoid losing your earnest money deposit is if you decide to cancel the contract. You want to cancel the contract for personal reasons. Nothing's wrong with the property. Everything's great, but you may just change your mind. You just want to cancel the contract. Make sure that you have those contingencies in your contract that if you pull out of the deal, that you will not lose your earnest money deposit. Now, it can just hold you up. I've had a seller, this happened to me recently. I've had a seller that we were in our inspection period of 12 days. We decided to back out of the deal because of some major issues with the property. Within the contract, we were meeting our deadlines. We canceled the contract and the seller sat on it for over a month without signing the cancellation agreement, meaning that we didn't get our earnest money deposit back because it needs to have two signatures, and the buyer has to sign it and the seller has to sign the cancellation agreement in order for the title company to release those funds back to the buyer. So it's a really sticky situation, one I don't really like, but it's a part of the business. I had to just put my big girl panties on and deal with these issues, and you'll have to do the same. All right, not for the men. All right, so I hope that that was some good information for you, and I hope to see you next time. I hope your day is going well, and get out there and make that money. You remember, when you're signing a contract, make sure that you read that contract thoroughly, that you understand exactly what's going on with this contract, and that you have your contingencies in place, that you have you know exactly when your deadlines are, so you can make sure that if you decide to pull out of the deal, you can get your earnest money deposit back. All right, out of here. See you later.